Athletes never stay in the same sport all their lives. Some make the jump to other sports, others simply retire and stay that way. But that's not what we're on about today. In this video, we'll be exploring the behind the scenes of some of the most iconic golfers from the 1970s to date and what they've been up to since quitting golf. Beginning with Pierre Folke, golf course architect. Born to a Swedish national swimming champion, it seemed a fair guess that Folke would dabble in some sport. When he did, his first love wasn't swimming or golf but handball. Then, he tried golf and fell in love with the sport. What followed next was honors at junior and senior amateurs, which further deepened his life for the sport. During his pro years, he was coached and mentored by Stefan Johansson, who helped Folke notch 3 European Tour titles in the years to follow. His last major achievement was winning the 2002 Ryder Cup and finishing in 26th place in the world rankings in 1989. The 53-year-old eventually put down his clubs in 2007, choosing instead to design the courses for the game he's loved since his younger years. And he's incredibly good at it too, using his knowledge as an ex-golfer to design and redesign lots of courses across Scandinavia, including the Visby Golf Club, arguably the most highly rated course in his home country of Sweden. Jean van de Velde, UNICEF ambassador. Jean van de Velde may have had an incredibly successful career as a golfer with multiple honors in his time, but he's most famously known for his meltdown at the 1999 Open at Carnoustie. A string of errors saw the Frenchman relinquish his lead and play catch-up for the rest of the game in what can only be described as a hilariously horrid display from one of the best golfers at the time. Despite having his name and legacy embellished in Netflix's Losers, the 58-year-old was a 2-time European Tour title winner, winner of the 1993 Roma Masters, and in his earlier years, winner of both the 1985 and 1986 French Youth Championships and the 1986 French Amateur Championship. In 2012, his prowess in the sport landed him an ambassadorial role at UNICEF France, where he became the second French sportsperson to attain the position after ex-footballer Lilian Thuram. He has since left competitive golf but has continued to be involved in hosting the WCM Legends Open de France since 2019. Besides these roles, he's also dabbled in other aspects of golf, such as punditry, commentating, and teaching in Punta Mena, Mexico. Jody Mudd, horse farmer. With a last name like Mudd, becoming a horse farmer doesn't seem far-fetched for this ex-golfer with an otherwise illustrious career. The 64-year-old turned professional in 1982 and went on to bag some of the highest honors in the sport, including the 1990 Players' Championship that culminated in his 4 PGA Tour victories, the 1979 Kentucky Open, the 1980 Kentucky Amateur, and the 1980 Publinks Champion. Other individual accolades include the Trans-America Athletic Conference Golfer of the Year, the Walker Cup Player and U.S. Public Links Champion, and Amateur Golfer of the Year in 1981. Throughout his career, his highest world ranking was 23rd, which doesn't perfectly capture the amazing career he had to be named the most celebrated golfer in Georgia Southern history. Mudd would eventually retire in 1996 after playing his last event on the PGA Tour. He was only 36 at the time, but stepped off the course for a life that reflected his Kentucky nativity. He purchased a horse farm to breed and train thoroughbred horses before briefly returning to golf in 2010. He'd only play 4 events on the Champions Tour though, where he showed he still got it by tying for 20th at the Regions Charity Classic. David Frost, winemaker. Much like Jody Mudd, a last name like Frost doesn't seem out of place in the winery business. This ex-golfer enjoyed his fair share of the spotlight in an otherwise storied career. After turning pro in 1981, he went on to notch 29 professional wins across different continents and tours. He also finished in the top 10 in 7 majors. But perhaps his highest honor lasted 86 weeks in the global top 10 rankings. Other individual awards include winning the Byron Nelson Award in 1987 and the Southern Africa Tour Order of Merit in the 1998-99 season. Currently, the 65-year-old is more winemaker than a golfer, but continues to indulge in the senior tour and lend support to the Raymond Ackerman Golf Academy. Unlike athletes who lent their names to beverages, Frost, in fact, comes from a family of winemakers. So, when he acquired a 300-acre vineyard in the Paarl region of South Africa in 1997, it wasn't the most outlandish news. His heritage was further cemented when his vineyard produced 3,000 cases of Cabernet Sauvignon in the same year. David Lynn, property tycoon. David Lynn joins the list of former golfers who took a huge turn away from the sport. Having gone professional in 1995, Lynn established himself as one of the must-watch figures in golf, particularly after winning the European Tour twice and finishing as a runner-up at the US PGA Championship in 2012. Before going pro, the 51-year-old won the 1994 Greek Amateur Championship. Then, when he joined the European Tour, his best finish on the Order of Merit was 18th in 2012. His stock soared further after joining the PGA in 2013, where he would rise to number 34 on the official world golf ranking in the same year. His current career path as a property tycoon began in 2012 following his second-place finish at the US PGA Championship. His earnings went towards funding this dream 2 years later in 2014. He owns a slew of properties now but continues to nurse the idea of returning to golf someday as part of the senior tour. Smiley Kaufman, analyst and reporter. Smiley Kaufman is easily the youngest ex-golfer on this list, being only 32 years of age. It wasn't that long ago he turned pro either, having joined the PGA in 2014. However, despite having the career length of a Toblerone bar, Kaufman did pretty well for himself. In a career spanning 2014 to 2022, the American won the PGA Tour event in Las Vegas a year after joining in 2015. Keep in mind that his participation in the PGA Tour was only because he'd won the United Leasing Championship. Other major highlights of his career include a twosome game with Jordan Spieth in the 2016 Masters, where he tied for 12th in the 2017 Players' Championship. He became one of the more consistent performers on the PGA Tour, rising to 48th in the world ranking at some point. He even featured in the famous spring break posse that included Spieth, Justin Thomas, and Ricky Fowler. However, persistent injuries in his wrist and elbow meant Kaufman struggled to play the sport that he loved. Eventually, he decided to embrace the reality of never playing professionally again, ending his career at the start of the 2022 PGA Tour. He's since transitioned to sports TV, where he works as an on-course reporter for NBC Sports and works on a personal podcast called The Smiley Show. Michael Campbell, Golf Academy. Michael Campbell is part of the ex-golfers lineup that is still actively involved in the sport. The New Zealander first burst onto the scene after going professional in 1993. He was part of the PGA Tour of Australasia and the European Tour before joining the PGA. Campbell, or Cambo as he was fondly referred to, was one of the better golfers around, and in fact, on this list. In his heydays, he racked up 15 professional wins across multiple tours. At some point, he was ranked 12th in the world, which remained his highest ranking to date. His achievements include the 1993 PGA Tour of Australasia Rookie of the Year, the PGA Tour of Australasia Order of Merit in the 1999-2000 season, the PGA Tour of Australasia Player of the Year in the same year, and finally, the 2005 European Tour Golfer of the Year award. The 55-year-old set his clubs aside in 2015 to run a golf academy in Spain. Now he hosts coaching days and trips at Villapadierna near Puerto Banús. But he still takes part in the sport, like when he participated in some events on the Champions Tour in 2019. There was also the Senior Open at Kilspindie, where he shot a 59 during the lead-up. Peter Lawrie, Director of Golf. Peter Lawrie might be one of the younger ex-golfers on this list, but going on to become the Director of Golf is an incredible achievement in its own right. The 50-year-old had a decent career, but nothing on the standard of his peers on this list. For example, his highest world ranking was 105th, and he only ever managed 2 professional wins in his time on both the European Tour and Challenge Tour. His other achievements include a 2003 Sir Henry Cotton Rookie of the Year award, a victory in the 2008 Spanish Open, and 7 top 10 finishes. He did not have the most illustrious career out there, but the Irishman was easily one of the most successful athletes from the country of Ireland, so that helped cement his legacy further. He quit professional golf in 2016 before taking on the title of Director of Golf at Luttrellstown Castle Resort later that year. He's since held the same position at Fairways and Fun Days Limited from 2019 to date. Gordon Sherry, Management and Consultancy. Although Sherry never quite broke into the top 100 rankings for golfers worldwide, he was an all-right golfer with a decent trophy cabinet. His most notable achievement was winning the Amateur Championship in 1995 before turning pro a year later. Still in '95, he won the Walker Cup as part of a team at Royal Porthcawl next to an up-and-coming Tiger Woods. The 6'8" Scotsman has since downed his clubs to take on a different role in golf, developing a business, Gordon Sherry Golf, to cater to aspiring young golfers and managing corporate golf activities. He's found success in this venture as well, managing multiple current golf players, including Sandy Lyle, a former Open and Masters champion. Nick Dougherty, commentator and presenter. Our final ex-golfer is Nick Dougherty, who turned pro in 2001 and went on to be one of the most dominant British golfers in his heyday. Despite not having a glamorous trophy cabinet, Dougherty climbed to 46th in the global rankings at some point, his highest position until retirement. He has 2 professional wins to his name on the European Tour, including a 2007 Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. His only other notable accolade is the 2002 Sir Henry Cotton Rookie of the Year award. Retirement for Nick Dougherty was similar to Smiley Kaufman's. He developed a debilitating block off the tee that he could never quite fix. This made him struggle for form until losing his card in 2011. Afterwards, he made the jump to TV, where he's worked as a commentator and pundit for Sky Sports. He's come to be one of the more iconic figures in golf TV and is renowned for his expertise, commentary, and interviews. That's the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you in the next video.